understand that success isn't talent, success is achievement. Just because you're talented doesn't mean you're successful. You take that talent and you achieve something, it means you're successful. And I'm really proud of what Xavier achieved this spring and this summer as well, on and off the field. Yeah, you know what? We had a speaker come in a couple last year, in Kevin Eastman. Kevin worked with the Celtics, and we started talking about their team goals the first year that they brought, the big three. Kevin Garnett. I'm not a basketball fan, so I'll probably say I don't want to make anyone mad and say the wrong names, but Kevin Garnett, came in and said like, hey, my goal for this year is to make everyone, appreciate and respect what the Celtic jersey means again. So, like, for me, when I think about Nebraska, I just think about that helmet. It's just like, it's iconic to me. It's all across college football what that means. And, are we being talked about right now? I mean, are people talking about, wow, it's, I'm not talking about within Nebraska, I'm talking about nationally. And so for me, this is about us as a program, from the way we practice to the way we travel, the way we carry ourselves. Like, I told Keith Van I wanted to be the first guy here this morning. Like, I just want us to do everything better than everyone else. And that pride, that respect that we have for each other and the way that we do things, you've heard me say many times, like, I don't want our fans coming to the games just because they love Nebraska. I want them coming because they love Nebraska and they know they're going to see a good football team. And so there's a lot on us that we have to do. And so if we're making progress towards that, then people will respect who we are, our players will respect who we are, our opponents will respect who we are, and that's the first step towards championship mindset. Yeah, so when I say patience, I don't mean patient in terms of like the results at all. Like my saying, like we are it's 4th and goal every single day in our building. That's the mindset. It's 4th and goal every day. Like, I go away and see my family at the beach, and everyone's like, I know you're on vacation. I'm not on vacation. I'm working from the beach. Like, this is 24/7, 365. Like we're chasing greatness. I mean, like there's no, everyone here is sprinting to stay ahead of us. We got to catch them and then get where we want to be. So the urgency is elite. It's just I don't want to skip steps along the way. Does that make sense? I don't want to take shortcuts. I don't want to build something that, like, hey, we show everybody a little bit of hope this year, but then next year we take a step back. So I never want year 2 to be year 1. If that makes sense. So this is year 1. Yeah, I want us to win every game. I want us to put like I'm not right now. I can't think about the games. I want us. I mean, I expect us to do everything right. I expect guys to show up on Sunday and be on time. So it's just this mindset of everything matters, everything counts. That's all I mean. So I don't want anyone to take like, hey, Coach Rhule said, hey, calm down, don't get excited. But no, there's no one that's more anxious for this than me. It's just that I know the only way we can win the game is if we're awesome on camp. So that's the mindset, and I want our guys to just have to stay steady every single day. Because like we play Minnesota game 1. What if we win? What if we lose? Like, we still play the next week, don't we? Our guys learned the hard way last year. When you start being like, this is an important game and this isn't, well, Georgia Southern happens. So I don't want us thinking that way. Every single game is an important game. And as I say that to former players, they kind of laugh. They're like, oh, Coach Osborne used to say it all the time, we roll our eyes. I'm like, yeah, but Coach Osborne figured it out before I did. And so I'm just doing the same thing that the people who wanted Nebraska. Yeah, because I think everyone's kind of like one-time-ish, you show up at 8:04, it's like, oh man, you're like, oh, if you have a meeting with me, be here at 8, like, actually be early, so, it's just because I'm willing to act on it, it seems like a bigger deal. I can promise you our players are way more disciplined than tomorrow. I can promise you that. It's just if you're gonna be late to breakfast 3 or 4 times, or you miss breakfast or something, I'm gonna take action. It's not because I don't love you, but in fact because I do care greatly about what I can't have guys leaving our program and going out in the real world and not functioning. I'll feel like a failure. So we're gonna treat our building like it's the real world. Like, guys would walk into when I was at the Giants, guys would walk into a meeting early. Coach Coughlin would say, "We're the fine." Right? Because they have $2,000 fine. If they miss something, they have a $14,000 fine. I don't want players from Nebraska playing in the NFL getting fined. I want them knowing to be 5 minutes early. Actually get there 10 minutes early. Put your phone down and talk to people, and watch how the world opens up for you. Obviously, I think the NFL. I think just being around the football and the players, I learned a lot. we're talking about recovery. When you're coaching someone like Christian McCaffrey, like, you learn everything that there is out there. Like, hey, coach, there's this thing here, this thing there. So, we're building a lot of things in our building. I think for me, on a personal note, like, every job I had taken before that had a happy ending. So, you kind of always assume it's going to work out. And for me, I'm probably a lot better now because I'm coming off of some adversity. And then seeing, like, I learned a lot about leadership by leading in tough times. It's easy to lead when things are going well. It's easy to lead when you're winning every game. When you're about to get fired and everyone's, the whole stadium's booing for you to get fired. Like, look around here, guys. And they said, think about if they were going like fire, simple, here, how that would feel. And your kids are in the stadiums. Like, but I did that. And you know what I learned? I'm tough. And my family's tough. And you know what? After that happened, I went home and saw my daughters. I played with them. I hung out. I didn't take it home. And I learned a lot about, hey, sometimes as a leader, you have to be the one out front taking the bullets. So the people behind you can handle and can move forward. So keeping that team together through that adversity was something that I'm not proud of. And so as I come to Nebraska now, like, I know if I do something, there's going to be a lot of different opinions. You know what? I respect everyone. I'm going to do what I think is right. Because I've seen what happens when everyone has an opinion. I've got to do what I think is right and be tough enough to just stand with it. Like, if I think, you know what, guys, we're going to wear this color cleats, we're going to wear this color. Hey, guys, we're going to do it. Like, someone's going to get upset, maybe. But I owe it to the University of Nebraska to go all in. I can't go half in and gauge the temperature of it. I got to go all in. And so I maybe wouldn't have been able to do that if I had not gone through last year. Yeah, and to me it's unique in Nebraska because there are all these games that are so close. Like, literally, how ESPN has like that predictor, like you're not even. I bet you most games in the fourth quarter, Nebraska was favored to win. So, to me, it's all these things. Like, I talk a lot about being on time. Well, you know what? Like, if I can't count on you to show up to things in the summer, I don't know that I can count on you to be inside leverage when you're supposed to be inside leverage, right? Because it's these little things that cause winning games. So it's the strength program, it's the nutrition program, it's our guys getting bigger and stronger because you know what? The stronger, more physical team usually wins in the fourth quarter. They wear the other team out instead of getting wounded. So it's our approach to the offseason. It's our approach to the discipline, which to me is just doing what we say you're going to do. And it's also confidence. Like, I want our guys to be confident that we're going to win, even when it looks like maybe like the odds are against us. And so putting them in those situations in practice, inoculating them against that stress, because we have a bunch of good players. They'll play great at practice. My job is to get them to play great in the games the way they do at practice. A lot of that is just helping them overcome stress, overcoming the fear of failure. So we'll do everything from we'll read a book during preseason camp. We'll talk about it. Guys do mindfulness, guys do yoga. We yell and scream at practice, and they learn to just tune things out. There's a reason for everything that we do, and hopefully it ends up working sooner rather than later. The ones that we have, they love Nebraska. I love Penn State, and they want to be there for all the right reasons. So as much as we talk about all the things that are wrong in college football, I can point out a lot of things that are right. And so I think that's really important. And at the same time, I look at one of the best players in football today is Hassan Reddick. He was a walk-on for me at Temple. I learned pretty early on, like, who they are at 18 is not necessarily who they are at 22 or who they are at 27. So we try to give everyone a chance. And by a chance, I mean reps and opportunities and chances to show what they can do. So, and I think for me, like, I love the game because I love the game. And I probably always have a little bit of chip on my shoulder because I knew at Penn State I was going to get a chance. I just knew I wasn't going to get as many chances as everybody else. So I didn't have an opportunity to, like, let things slide. I had to be grateful for my chances and make the most of them. And that's kind of how I feel now coming to Nebraska. Like, I'm getting a chance to do this. I gotta make the most of it. Yeah, I think that I was, we're all meant to do something. We all have a purpose for our lives. I was meant to work with this age group. When I did get fired, it was almost like I was getting eulogized the next day. Like, all my former players were texting me and reaching out to me. And, hey, coach, you meant this to me. Hey, coach, you helped me do this. And there's just for me and my purpose, working with young people, I just enjoy the college game. I enjoy recruiting. I enjoy getting to know their parents. I enjoy watching guys graduate. I enjoy watching guys get jobs, have kids. And I'm now starting to get to the point where guys I coach, their kids are starting to come up. That's scary but true. And so my wife and kids, like, they missed college. Like in college, they knew everyone. Like they knew the families. On the away games, they sit in the stands, like and all of a sudden now they're in the NFL and they don't know any of the players. They certainly don't know their families. So, and part of my NFL experience was also COVID, so that was kind of off too. But I just like being around young people in these formative years and watch them become things that maybe they didn't know they were going to be. I like Rhule. First of all, if you like to compete, don't you like to compete in recruiting? So to me, like when you recruit, you have a chance to compete with everything you do. I like to recruit. I really like to evaluate first. Let me say that. Sometimes people will tell me that there's a lot of talk about, they took this guy who's unrecruited, that guy who's unrecruited. Why should what someone else is doing, their opinion of a player, affect my opinion? That means I'm weak. So I like having, we had 3,000 kids I think come to our camps. I took 1,000 pictures with youth campers 2 days in a row. I like people first of all, but I like evaluating. I like watching people. I like looking at a kid at 15, 16, 17 and being like, that kid's going to be this or this. So not always right, but I like the projection. I like all that. I like watching tape. But then I also like relationships and families. I like having people come in, and I just have learned let's not say anything. No one tweet it. Anyone coming to me with why'd you get caught? But also what I've learned is I'm really not recruiting anyone to come to Nebraska. I'm telling each person who we are, what we do, why we do it, and then for each guy I'm saying, hey, here's our vision for you, and here's our plan to get you there. And if it works for them, great. And if it doesn't, we wish them the best. And I'm not a slick talker. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, somebody doesn't I put that New York City side of me to the side, and I have an 18-year-old son. All I pray for is that my son ends up in the right place with the right people. If he ends up in the wrong place, I don't know. So I don't want kids coming to Nebraska that it's the wrong place. I want them to come up for the right reasons. So I love recruiting, and I think we're doing a pretty good job. I'm not the rankings and the numbers and all that. We had kids come to our camp that ran 4.38, 4.42, broad jump 10.5, and had pro agilities. I don't care who else offered them. If I can't coach a guy that runs that fast and jumps that high, then I can't coach. So that's kind of the fun part to me also, is finding the guys that are out there, and I'm really happy with our camps, having that many guys. At first, the first camp was only 150, 160, and then it just kind of slowly grew, and I'm hoping we get to 4,000 or 5,000 kids next year, because I want people all across the state of Nebraska and anywhere to come knowing they're going to have a great experience. Yeah, June was hard first of all. I thought I was going to have a couple of people quit on the staff. There was one Friday we had an official visit, a morning practice, an afternoon practice, and I think most schools around the country, what they're doing is they're letting the GAs coach the camp, and they're doing the official visit. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. We coached the camp, did the official visit. It was really hard, but on that weekend, on Sunday, it was so good for me and the staff to be did it work? Just did it work? Well, we offered a bunch of kids that came to the camp that we didn't really know a ton about, or that we liked, but we weren't sure. And then we had a bunch of guys come in. And so a lot of parents, I think a lot of kids nowadays, they're recognizing, if these coaches work this hard at camp, or this hard at official visit, how are they going to work on my academics, my health, my mental health? They're probably going to be pretty intentional about that. So I think June was a big success, not just for this year, but for the future. Now, recruiting, they're committed. People are going to come after them. They're going to want them to come. But you know what? We're going to go after guys too. So, there's still a lot of recruiting left to be done. And I won't say the book just because I'll get out in 1 minute, but I'll tell the book. So Donnie Raiola is going to do he'll do a team-wide book. He did it last year with the O-line, but he'll do a team-wide a book club. We'll do it let's say 15 minutes a day, 3 days a week for 2 weeks. The book's called Twin Thieves. It's a great book. Donnie gave it to me early on. It's kind of like what they call an allegory. It's kind of about I don't know if allegory is the right term. If it is, forgive me. But it's basically a coach working with a fictional team and helping the guys learn how to overcome doubt, fear, failure. So Donnie and I read all the same books. people always ask, why did you hire him? When I walked in his office and I saw the books he had, I was like, man, me and this guy are definitely alike, because I only read a certain type of book for the most part, and we had all the same base one. So, and it's cool for me. Like, he's going to do that part of it. You know, Dr. Haskell's going to do all the mindfulness and meditation. It's not just me in front of the team. It's Garrett and Terrence are going to do, you know, the quarterback show. They're going to pull out clips from show guys. So all of our coaches have a chance now to get in front of the team. So. No. He if you know him, he's a psychopath in terms of he reads the same thing.
Recruiting, how do you think the TV deal for ACC Fox?
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. To think that we'll be on Fox national TV the first 2 games of the year. You know, I was in New Jersey the last couple of weeks, right? Like, people say, Coach, Nebraska, you know, day after Thanksgiving, give these iconic TV membership people all across the country. To think that now that people are going to turn on NBC, they're going to turn on CBS, they're going to turn on Fox and see us playing on national TV. They're going to see the environment that's at. And I think another thing is the presentation. The game presentation is going to be elite. Like, you watch a game on NBC, like, they're going to show Nebraska. One of the biggest things for us is when you go outside the state, people don't really know what's in Lincoln. They don't know what's in Nebraska. They don't know what's in Memorial. I didn't know. I had to come out and see it. And so I know teams that are at NBC, CBS, and Fox, they're going to present that in a way that helps us in recruiting at a high level. Yeah, you know, I've never met Coach Sanders. I recruited a young man from Trinity Catholic, Quaylen Jones, to Baylor. That was his high school. But on the day that I went in, Coach wasn't in, so I dealt with his assistant head coach and just, you know, thanked them for letting us recruit him. Yeah, I think Nebraska-Colorado is good for football. You know, I think you know, as many of the old Big 8 games as we could play, the better. You know, I mean, I think it's great when everyone can drive to all the games and see the games. What I don't want is just football like in this part of the country, in this part of the country. I want it east to west, north to south, because I think it's good for the game in the long run. So, in terms of what Colorado's doing now, I'm so busy with myself. I don't know. My son's on social media, so he'll show me something every now and then. But you know, I think it's awesome. Coach Sanders is making Colorado highly relevant, and we're trying to do the same thing.
An Iowa-Nebraska rivalry. I'm sure you're familiar. They don't like each other very much. How, you know, what do you think about that? Just, you know, being preserved, and you guys are going to play each other once a year.
Yeah, it's unique for me because when I was in the Big Ten at Penn State, you know, Nebraska wasn't, and so we played Iowa. We had a chance. I thought we were going to go to the national championship in I think it was 95 into 96 or 96. I can't remember the year. And Tim Dwight took a punt and turned back for a touchdown against us, and it kind of ruined the year for us. We ruined going to the national championship. We still went like 10-2, I think, but going to the national championship game. So the Iowa-Nebraska rivalry is kind of new to me, right? Like in terms of seeing it. Obviously, that game this year was huge. But I think having a regional rival, I think having a game that everyone can drive to, I think it's good. I think it's really good. A lot of respect for Coach Ferentz. You know, he's done it his way, the right way, for a really long time. It's awesome. So, yeah, I'm excited about the schedule moving forward. You know, I really don't care who we play in terms of in conference. You know, out of conference, I got a lot of opinions on things like that. But in conference, like, you got to play ball. You know, so. I do know this, you know, our players didn't come here to play bad teams. They came to Nebraska to play against the best. So, you know, Iowa's a great team. It'd be an honor to play them. Sorry? Oh no, that's my late night text messages to Trev. I'll keep those ones quiet.
Matt, what is your communication with Trev about just meeting in the facility? You know, you're starting practice this weekend. How will that process happen as far as when you guys are making?
Yeah, we have a weekly, Susan and I have a weekly Zoom call with the people over there. And as much as I want to get in, I also want it to be done right. You know, I don't want to get in and then have, you know, things around us. So, you know, Trev, as you guys know, Trev's visionary. He's awesome. He handles all the details of those things, but they keep us abreast. I think at some point in training camp we'll probably move the players in. We were hoping before, but, you know, I walk out in the field the other day and I see 2 beautiful grass fields and new turf fields being laid. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you have to just be a little bit patient to wait for things to be done and done right. You know, the coaches, I think we'll probably stay over in our offices in meeting rooms for right now, and maybe sometime, you know, in this training camp or fall we'll move in. But the biggest thing to me is I want the players to be able to move into the the locker room, training room, recovery area. The recovery area is going to be phenomenal as soon as possible. So probably at some point during camp.
How do you want to run the ball without having to exercise? How do you want to run the ball just number that you want to get to?
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I think that when you look at how you run the ball, take the quarterback out of it. To your point, I have a couple core philosophies. Like always look at what your O-line does well, right? Now we're gonna play some 3-4 fronts. We're gonna run different things against the 3-4 fronts than we will against the 4-down fronts. I always believe that a yard outside the tackles, an outside play is equal to 2 yards inside. Like inside the tackles, it's kind of like a body blow. It's just it's right up the middle. So we'll be stubborn to a fault, but I also know that we're going to have to be able to throw it. We're going to have to be able to be explosive. We're going to have to run the quarterback. So, I want to be diverse in what we do. We're going to run inside zone, outside zone, power, counter. We're not going to just live off of one thing. But I just want to make sure that we have an interior run game as well, right? So if 1 week I have to spread you out to be able to run the ball inside, I will. If we have to get in tight to condense you, then we will. But I just want people to, when they play us, to line up and have several different things. So there's 2 different philosophies. Like we'll play some teams and they'll say, we run these 2 runs all the time. We're methodical with them. We're going to try to be a little more diverse. We're going to run a bunch of plays. The quarterback run game to me doesn't really count as rushing yardage. It's an outlier. It's an potentially explosive play. I don't want to run the quarterbacks to get 3-4 yards. I want to run the quarterbacks in a couple different ways. I want to run them. When we're in the red zone. I want to run them on 3rd down. So when the result is either continuing a drive or scoring. I want to run the quarterback when he's part of a zone read type play where we're hoping to give it, but if he pulls it, it's a big play. And then I think a lot of what Jeff will do is he's going to drop back to throw it, and then he's going to put the ball down and run. And so those count as free yards as well. So we don't want to just go out there and just be running quarterback power and getting 4 yards. But if that happens, it happens. We want to be thoughtful with the ways that we use it. Yeah, we're never going to say like, hey, start fast, guys. Let's get off to a big lead. That's not us. Like, we hope we do. Like, we're just going to go out there and play, and then try to wear teams out in the 4th quarter. So, again, that doesn't. There might be games where we come out, we throw it the first 10 plays of the game because that's what we think we need to do that game to loosen something. I mean, every game's a little bit different, but the core philosophy is we've got to stop the run and run the ball. We've got to protect our quarterback and attack their quarterback in front. So, stubbornness just means at the end of the day, there's going to be some games, Sam, where you go out there to run the ball, and it's getting 3 yards, 4 yards. And I've been on those staffs where the coordinator's like, man, we can't run it today. And the O-line coach wants to fight, and wow, we can run it. Like, we're going to keep running it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean we're not going to throw it. We're going to take 70% layup throws. We're going to push the ball down the field, but we're going to run the football and believe that the cumulative effect affects us. The last thing I'll say is there's times at Temple, but we're playing Penn State, Notre Dame. I'm like, bro, we can't run ISO against Notre Dame. Like, we tried it. We popped one for about 30 yards. They got so mad, so then we had to spread them out. We run zone read. That wasn't really who we were, but we're going to find a way to run the ball, somehow. My philosophy, I think the guys will tell you, like, I let everyone on our team speak. I'm not one of those guys who's like, hey, these 4 guys. Every player that plays for me has to learn how to talk to me. I just thought these 3 guys, but Jeff's the quarterback, right? So, after every game, you guys, media's probably going to talk to me. They're probably going to talk to Jeff. So to not bring him here would be disingenuous. And I thought like Ethan Piper to me, like he's truly our brand. Like he's a Nebraska Cornhusker through and through. And then Luke, he's just prolific. He's been a great player, and he's a local guy. It's like a great story. So, but I could have brought any other guy. I could have brought Ty Robinson. I could have brought so many other guys. But I just thought these 3 guys were really good. And I think Jeff, he's new. He's never once said, well, this is how I did it before. Like, he's just embraced our culture and our way of doing things, and that's the hardest part in year 1, is that all the guys, everything's new to them. The only person who knows what I'm going to do is Fleeks, because he played for me at Baylor. The rest of them are all kind of like, what's next? And Jeff's embraced it all as he's gone. Oh, you know why I know that? Because last time I said, you could end up number 3, and he goes, no, number 2. I was like, stop me. What? Should him play? I think So I like to do two things. I like to watch both the all 22 videotape. I also like to watch a lot of TV copies to feel the game. And he's made a lot of big plays and a lot of big moments, right? You could tell the defense was one that, like, if the offense lined up like this, it was shipped, and he was so great at getting guys lined up. A lot of detail, a lot of really good football. And so, but I think the biggest thing for me is you see him on tape. He can go sideline to sideline. He can get off blocks. He can tackle. He's competitive. But he also has a penchant for making a big play. A key interception, a key takeaway at the right time. Well, my goal is that the guys that I say, hey, we're playing with these guys against Minnesota, I hope that I'm playing with the same guys 3 or 4 weeks later. Sometimes, when you're a new coach, you go in the season like, hey, this is going to be the guys, and after 3 or 4 games, you're like, oh, I better change, you go with these guys. I'm hoping we do a really good job of evaluating. And so part of that is giving guys a lot of opportunities. We'll have 2, 3, 4 drills going at all times. We'll scrimmage, we'll play, we'll see. They've cut the rules way back to, you can only be in 8 pads before the first game now in college football. That's I read that, I thought it was a typo. I couldn't believe it. 8 times, to get ready for a game, but the rules are the rules. I'm going to live with them. But I have to find ways to just constantly see, who can I count on, who's competitive, because I think finding the right guys in the right roles. A lot of guys can be really successful if they're just in the right roles. So getting them in the right roles is hard. You don't want to do it too soon because you jump the gun, and you don't want to do it too late because you play a game and you have the wrong guys playing.
It does take a few more than the repetitive 4 yards, 6 yards.
Well, there's a lot of guys from Nebraska. There's a lot of guys that a lot of them have heard a lot about that over the last couple of years. I think for me, it's this teaching concept of listen, you're the 2023 Nebraska Cornhusker football team, and there's this continuum, and there's a lot of people who came before you, and you have to learn from their lessons. You have to learn from everything that they've done, and they've allowed you to be here in this moment, and you have this beautiful moment to have your time to then affect all the people that are going to come after you. So we talk a lot about those who came before us. We also talk about those who come after us and what our legacy is going to be. So understanding that continuum, I think, is really important. Do you want future teams to be feared? And so they can know what the 90s were. They can know what the early 2000s were. They can know about all those years, but really the focus, they didn't know that, but also then they have to go focus on right now. And so if we focus on right now and we're patient with it, hopefully we can be feared again someday. Yeah. It's funny, I talked to Coach Solich this spring. One of the things I talked about was how much respect I had for, you're talking about a guy that all the success he had as both a position coach, and
Have a good one, man.
Coordinator and then head coach, running one offense, right? And then if you remember, he was at Ohio, he ran that same offense, and then he morphed in 2005 maybe, and then 2005 into 2006, and all of a sudden now they were spread type concepts, and there was no more fullback, and they were in 11 and 12 personnel, so he changed, and he had the same success. And I talked to Coach, he said, we changed the personnel, but we kept the same core concepts and the same core gameplay. So I think when you see coaches that can adjust over time, that's the mark of a true coach. Anybody can say, this is my system, find me the players to do it. My job and our job is to say, here's the players we have, what's the best system for them? As you recruit, you're recruiting to a system, but we have to be flexible. So I was in Temple, we were 4 down. I was at Baylor, we were 4 down for a couple years, then we went to 3 down, and we won the league. Then I went to Carolina. The first year we were terrible in defense. We were a 4-3. Then we went to a 5-1 hybrid, and we were number 2 in defense. So it's not about, I like to do this. It's about coming to Nebraska, what will win in Nebraska, what will win in the elements of Nebraska, and then always evolving to take advantage of the players that I have. I think they're confident and ready to go, And again, my message to them is if you spend all your time trying to prove other people wrong, you're gonna be miserable. Just prove yourself right. If you think you're a good player, go play like a good player, man. And we made some real strides in the weight room with those guys. I see them bending at a high level, taking care of. Donnie does a great job with the mentality. I was over there earlier with Piper. I said, okay, you're holding me in one hand, And Donnie, on the other hand, you have to let go of one of us to peril. He's like, Coach, I'm sorry. He's letting go of me. So, like, that's the unity they built over there. So, it's a work in progress. We have to do a good job as coaches, though, of calling plays and doing things that they do well, right? Like, I worked for Kevin Gilbride at the Giants. I was assistant O-line coach, and like, he was going to protect the O-line. He knew that Eli couldn't play well if the O-line didn't play well. And how do I help the O-line play well? I'm going to protect them. I'm going to chip this guy. I'm going to run this play that we run well. So my job is to help our coaches figure out what we do well and then go do those things and let our guys play. I've done it a couple times. I went back as an assistant coach. I went back as the head coach at Temple twice. Lost the last game. Terrible call, lost the game. But I can't get fined for that, right? Because that was American, right? So, played them at home, beat them at home for the first time in 70. Beat them for the first time in 74 years, which was a big moment for Temple University. So, I love James Franklin. Grateful for what he's done for my university and my alma mater. He came in at a hard time and has brought them to excellence. Pat Kraft, their AD, is one of my best friends. Great AD, was my AD at Temple. So, it'll be fun to go there. The biggest thing I'll know is, hey guys, get ready for the crowd noise because it's going to be really loud, right? It's just it's a really loud, raucous environment.
What kind of relationship do you maintain with your alma mater and the college area in general? Do you get that much?
Yeah, we used to go back a bunch. My grandmother unfortunately passed away a few years ago, and that was last time. My aunt still lives there, lots of family still there, but we get back. I went back last year. The College of Liberal Arts honored me as my wife was so mad because she had better grades than me, but they offered me distinguished alumnus. So I went back, and it was awesome to see. I got to get back and see people there. So there's a lot of people there that I love, family, friends. Love the Paterno family. So I'm happy for Pat, happy for James, and so just when I can, I try to because Pat's gonna fight, scratch, and claw to help his coaches be successful. He cares about the student athletes. He's not afraid of anything. He's gonna go fight for what he wants, and he's a really good person. Yeah, I was really close. I am really close with Pat Fitzgerald. And obviously he's no longer there. But the day I got fired at Carolina, Pat was one of the first guys that reached out to me. We were always on Under Armour trips together. So my wife and his wife and all of us got along. I would let my son go play for him anytime. I respect that. And I don't know what that situation is. I'm not commenting on that situation, but I trust him. I've known PJ a long time. We came into head coaching together at Minnesota. And, over the years, his wife and my wife, we've all gotten to know each other. I worked with Ryan Day at Temple. We were both on the staff together. Mike Loxley was in my cousin's wedding when I was like 14, 15 years old. So I think he was slipping me beers at the wedding. So I've known him a long time. Just trying to think of anybody else. Greg Schiano was the DB coach at Penn State when I was a player there as a freshman. So a lot of guys I have some, small relation with. A lot of really good guys. The one thing about this league I thought was interesting was I got there, we had, they have a monthly Zoom that you do with all the coaches, and everybody gets on it, to keep you up to date with issues. I think AJ Eds, the assistant commissioner, does a great job. But there's like a coaches group chat. I'd never been a part of that before, so guys are working together to help solve and fix issues in college football. It's good to see them when we go to we went to the Big Ten meetings. I don't know anybody. It's good to see people I know, but I know they're trying to tear my throat out. They want to beat me bad too. So, but I like those guys. I respect those guys. Coming here. To me, it's all about first the players, right? I want our guys to have a great experience. We went to dinner last night, hung out last night. I come here confident, man. I'm confident, about our team and the way we're headed and the direction we're heading. I don't have a timetable, but I feel confident that, what I've seen so far, I know I made the right decision to come into Nebraska. Yeah, I'd say it's twofold. As I've gone across the state, or I've listened to people speak, you recognize pretty quickly how much Nebraska means to not just people or fans, but to families, right? Ronnie Green came and talked to the athletic department as he was, on this last few days, and Jane spoke, and she was talking about like these moments with her family, all of them coming together to watch Husker games. I almost got a little emotional, like, man, like my job's to make sure that the next generation, the generation, like, you know, however long I'm here and I'm alive, that we're giving them those great moments and those great memories and those great relations. But there's a real it's an honor to serve the state. Like, not very often are you're not just, a lot of times you're serving a university and the fan base. Here you're serving an entire state as well, and I think that's a responsibility I take very seriously. In terms of like the other stuff, you know, Trev's like, you're not gonna, you know, you should prepare. Like, you know, even at Temple was like that a lot, right? I mean, Baylor was certainly like that. And go watch my first opening media statement at Baylor. Like, I got up there and talked about scandals. I mean, I didn't talk about football. I was talking about, I mean, what we were going through was amazing. So I was always under the microscope. Caroline, obviously, you know, both good and bad, I was under the microscope. The thing is that, I mean, I did a speaking engagement a couple weeks ago. I went up and spoke in Tacoma, and there was a 98-year-old woman that waited in line to talk to me. Like, you know how humbling that is? Like, I don't take myself very seriously at all. I'm like, this woman, like, I should be walking over to her and getting her lunch and being like, man, listen. But she waited, and she took out her flip phone, and we took a picture together, and it was awesome. And I'm like, man, like you have a real responsibility to do things the right way. And so I don't mind you know, people want to stop and say hi to me, kids want to get a picture, great, like, let's do it, man.